Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, SalvationsElite. To my right is Sam, Bash_Bo3. And to our farthest right, per use, is Rex, ShadyNero. No more ice cubes in the house anymore. Rex is back. He's got the new setup. It's looking pristine.
Yeah, look at that background.
Better than ever. But before we get anything else, this podcast is going to be absolutely packed. Reaction, prediction, tons of news, and everything else. I got to ask, guys, what's going on?
Josh, I'm feeling electric today. Like I feel like I'm in a subway riding down the track. And all of a sudden, there's something in the distance. What is it? It's a big, fat W for the New York Subliners, and I'm feeling hot.
I mean, not only do you get the W yourself, but New York's W gave the people the hottest operators.
Ooh, this cube is melted, baby.
So this day would come.
The backstory there for all you guys might be confused is basically like what, 3 weeks ago, Rex was like, yo, the Subliners are going to do better than the Huntsmen at the next event that they play. Mm-hmm. I guarantee it. And guess what happened?
Guaranteed.
They meet in the freaking championship. They meet in the grand finals, and it comes down to the Huntsmen versus the Subliners. Subliners take home the hottest operator title. Let's go. So, Sam, how you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing good.
Doing good.
High energy per use for Sam over here. But we got a ton to go through today. Obviously, thanks to everybody who's reviewing the podcast and supporting it and commenting everything else on. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. So we do appreciate all the support on all three of those platforms quite a bit. And you can find us on Twitter, like I said, SalvationsElite, Bash_Bo3, and ShadyNero. So obviously a lot to go through today. So we're not going to read a review today, but make sure to drop those reviews because we will be reading them in the future, to say the least. So, first of all, we actually got something exciting again today. Midnight is back at it again, sponsoring the podcast, things you absolutely love to see. So, we wanted to talk about some of the odds for this weekend. Obviously, Midnight, they makes esports betting easy, allows you to level up your esports betting, and they give you a bunch of different types of odds to bet. And if you bet 25, you get a free 5. So it's just dubs all around. Oh, it really is. And of course, you can use code SALVATION to support us and support the channel and everything else. So we really do appreciate that quite a bit. And it does mean a lot. So let's talk about some odds here. So when you look at the odds, as you guys are seeing here on YouTube, if you're watching, basically how they do it, they set the odds pretty early on in the week for us here for the matches in the upcoming weekend. And we can go through them. So basically, if you bet, like, let's say you bet $10 on a match. If you bet 10 on a match, you multiply that by what the odds you see here, and that's how much you make. So you make 41.10 if you bet on pairs. So with that in mind, is there a match? Let's start with you, Rex. Is there a match that sticks out to you that you'd be like, I'm doubling down on this?
Okay, so if there was a match that I was going to bet on, I would say it would be the Royal Ravens versus Seattle Surge. I think that is going to be the match where it's like, I know Surge has been like total garbage, but like if there's going to be a match where there's going to be an underdog team that wins it, I think that's the match that's going to do it.
Oh, you're saying for
Seattle Surge is just going to have their
win.
one-time thing where they're going to come out and they're going to beat the Ravens, because the Ravens have been on a downward spiral, in my opinion. So I think that's the match that I would bet on. Everything else, I don't know. Maybe OpTic Mutineers,
the favorites,
but I wouldn't.
Right, because since you're betting, money bets, not like weighted bets. Like the favorite is heavily weighted here, but so it's like, do you value being right or taking the chance on making a little bit more cash? Like that's kind of like the debate there and finding the value. So Sam, what's yours?
I was gonna say I feel like free cash is Florida versus OpTic Gaming. We have odds for Florida winning at 1.45, so I don't know.
Which is less favored than the Subliners or Dallas in their matches.
I'm putting down 100 on that. So
I mean, you are banking on against the new roster for OpTic.
I am, yeah. But to me, it just seems like Florida is just too dominant right now. I don't know. Even with a new OpTic.
Maybe that'll reflect in your predictions later.
Maybe it will.
Maybe it will. I don't know.
You would bet on Florida in that. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. See, I would probably just take the free cash in the Dallas Empire here versus Paris. I know the odds aren't like great. You're not going to make a ton of money, but I mean, it's free money.
But okay, it's free money, but you want to make money. If you put $10 down, it's like that's you're going to make like what? I don't know how much that is, but not a lot.
Like $2.
You take out a loan, get $100,000 loan.
You're making free.
You gotta find the underdog team that are gonna make that money for you, and that's that Seattle Surge Ravens matchup. If there's gonna be one, that's the one.
I'm actually surprised that you said that. I don't know. I feel like Seattle Surge is like for sure not winning that game.
I mean,
London hasn't looked great
if
though.
We're
like
looking
they're
for an underdog.
Right. I mean, are you really gonna put your money on LAG versus the Subliners? You know,
Subliners
even on a 4.5 point odd.
I suppose you could in the same. I mean, I don't know. Depending on how much you're weighting OpTic Gaming, that might be also a good one to bet on against Florida.
Yeah.
I'm just totally contradicting myself. But if you're putting a lot of weight on AMs coming in for OpTic Gaming,
I mean, we've heard the hype already about OpTic's new roster.
Yeah. So then that. But if you're not weighing them as much as like me, I'm taking that Florida game. But,
yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Very weird.
I think I'd like the predictions. That's again midnight. Shout out. Thank you so much for supporting us and supporting the COD Esports scene as a whole. And so again, you can check them out. Links down in the description to support Midnight and make some bets for yourself. And again, use code Salvation to help support all of us and support the channel as well. So we really do appreciate that a lot. So with that said, we got a ton of news to cover today. So let's get into the news.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
Oh, yeah. Baby.
Wow.
Back at it again. So, oh my, we have a lot going on this time around. So,
yes.
I mean, where do you want to start?
Man.
Let's start on like the personality side of things here. Rich Cambell, the man himself, dude. The legend Rich is no longer with the CDL with Activision.
Yeah. Wow.
That sucks, man. And Rex, we know you loved you some Rich.
Of course I did. Rich was awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, what are your thoughts, man?
It's unfortunate. I wish I didn't fire him. I understand why they fired him, I guess. And I feel like he has potential to do a lot with streaming. And he's also, and I know he's been way more into World of Warcraft than COD. I honestly don't even know how he got. I knew him from World of Warcraft before COD. Then I was like, okay, I guess he's in COD now. And I know he's in tie with Asmongold and all that. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to be good for him. But I think what happened was that he started just like talking bad about World of Warcraft, right? Which is an Activision game.
Yeah.
Which is a
and
Call of Duty
he's been a personality
Activision.
for in the past. And so, like, yeah, that was why overall, like, he said, it wasn't really COD related for why he was let go.
Right.
So,
it's more of like against Activision probably, and then that's why he was let go. So.
Exactly. So he just said that, like in his own words, he says something along the lines like some of the things I say on stream aren't always things that someone representing your game wants to hear.
Yeah, but that's why we love Rich, because Rich, he says his truth. He says it. He puts it all out there. That's why we like Rich.
Amen.
Makes him entertaining.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I feel like he probably knew in the back of his head that he's the type of person that would probably be like the first to go. Like he's like more of he's more of a liability.
And he's expendable.
Yes.
Yeah. He threw caution to the wind. He just threw caution to the wind. It was always so good to watch.
But I think that's what makes him an amazing person. Is like people love that. So I think
he's honest.
I think he shouldn't be worried. I think he's got a great streaming career ahead of him.
I agree
with his personality, and maybe someone who doesn't mind having someone criticize like your brand might pick him up too, because I don't know.
Well, there's a reason why people at MLG loved him, because he was just honest. He was funny. He was cool. He was good for good personality. So we will miss him dearly, 100%. The next piece of news is Hastro stepping down as the CEO of Envy, which it sounds bigger than it actually is. Realistically, he's still going to be very involved at Envy, but he wanted to take a backseat to some of the daily operations, and he made a new role for himself called Chief Gaming Officer, the CGO. Sounds official. And he basically in his video said it's like just time to get back to my roots, focus on my family, get more involved directly with the gaming side of the business and things like that. So I would expect him to be very involved still with the COD side of things and all of the esports that Envy is running overall. Definitely. So I don't know. Any thoughts there overall, or just kind of like, yeah, it makes sense?
I think he went in there, he made his bank, and now he's going to start living the life, and just like, that's what he loves to do. Is like, that's the reason you get into gaming, you become a gaming organization, because you just love the gaming competitive side of it. So now he gets to do all that, and he can ignore all the other drudge,
the business and the loans and the
which I think like the same thing with what we saw with Hex.
He just sold out,
right? And like I think you just get to a point where you're just tired of doing all the worksheets and you know all that. And I think he'll be a happier person now. Obviously, he won't have much the majority control of where the business goes, but for the gaming side, of it all, I think he's going to be just
that makes sense.
Right there. They're still the face of Envy. So
OpTic fans, by the way, we don't mean sold out in like a negative tone for Hex.
Yes.
Before you take us out of context, all right, guys?
No. Yeah. We love Hex over here.
We do like some Hex. Yeah. So, next piece of news, Pacman this was kind of surprising. Pacman is joining Rise Nation. Rise, haven't heard that name in a minute.
I know. As
their general manager. So this is kind of interesting because it's coming off the tail of Rise mentioning trying to get involved in the Call of Duty League.
I think
this very likely could be linked in that sense. Like maybe in their minds, they're trying to submit their application. They're trying to show some type of like forward, like we're hiring a COD guy to like get involved here. We want to make sure we end up in the COD scene. Like it kind of seems like a proactive move in that way. Like what are your guys' thoughts of that?
I think it's good. I think it kind of tells us that Rise is really likely going to get involved in COD next year. Since they picked up Pacman. I think Pacman honestly is going to be a good general manager. I feel like that's a good role for him, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can see him doing that.
Weren't you saying that seems like for OpTic? Like you're like, what? Yeah, didn't you say that about OpTic Gaming? You're like, man, he should be a general manager, not the coach. Like,
yeah,
you're kind of talking about that in the past.
Yeah, so like I definitely see him in that general manager role at Rise. I feel like it just like I don't know. It all seems like that works in my head, and so I feel good about it. I think good things for him.
If they don't get the spot, would you expect it? Like, I mean, this feels like a thing where like they're hiring him in hopes to get the spot. Like they're hiring him because they're aiming for it.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna get the spot.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he was wearing like the Detroit MES like LAN shirt during his announcement. So people were like, "Oh, it's Detroit." But like, at this point,
just random.
It was probably just random coincidence.
That would be cool though. Detroit would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I'd be down. Yeah. But who really knows? I mean, I'm down either way. I would love to see expansion teams this offseason kind of give like a nice like little new fresh, like a little kind of like a fresh start vibe, like the new year with like hopefully doing all LAN again. Yeah. So I'm down. But next piece of news, Hollow and Drazah officially confirmed.
Yes.
For OpTic Gaming, and a lot of hype talking about this roster, which I'm sure we'll talk about a lot more the rest of this episode. A lot of the rest of the pod because like Accuracy was hyping them up. Assault thought they were pretty good as well, and I don't know, thoughts, guys. I mean, we already kind of talked about this quite a bit, but
I mean, they've always been placing in the top, top 6, top 8, typically in challengers, right? So like we've seen those names around. Now it's like these AMs, like true AMs, I feel like no one's ever heard of before this year. And now they're going into the pro scene. It's like this is their time. And so I think I love that more and more AMs are coming in. And I wonder if they're going to have staying power for next year. That's really my question. I wonder if it's just the game. It's like all these new people are just good at. And then next year it's going to go back to like, it's going to be the same crowd. Yeah. Or if we're actually going to keep Mac Melts forever. We're going to keep Hollow, Drazah, all these other people.
Yeah, Assault was like only like Modern Warfare. His tweet was Modern Warfare is wild in all caps. Hollow and Drazah are teaming with Slasher in all caps.
Yeah.
Like in what world would Slasher have ever picked up 2 random AMs who like basically no pros knew existed at the beginning of the year?
Yeah. No, I feel like it's a broken record at this point, but teams that are struggling, the play is to grab grab an AM
and see what happens
with this online league and just go with it. Like,
yeah,
I mean, this is their comfort zone right here. They don't have to, they can play in their bedroom, they can play in their robe, they can win 400K.
I hope they got robes,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, they can win 400K from their bedroom. Like, that's just insane. But yeah.
It really, there is legitimately an X factor there, and that is a massive part of it. We'll talk more about that as we're talking about OpTic Gaming later.
We should talk about why these AMs are so good. Like, every new AM that for the most part, there's some, but a lot of them come in, it's just like, that's now the star player. So like with Florida, half their roster just like people who came from the AM scene, and then Mac Melts comes in. It's like, it's just like these hard carries that they just pick up from the AM scene. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that online factor is... I
just think it's a comfort thing. Like, they're basically just playing...
It's an easy transition.
Yeah.
Versus, like, playing LAN.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, is... There's always going to be a constant debate about that. But, yeah, I feel like that's a huge factor is that...
This year.
You are transferring a very similar, environment from the AM scene. So.
I mean, even in Black Ops 4, though, we saw a lot of AMs... make a massive name for themselves. I mean, you can just fire off the list and it'd be like, you go like through Simp, Abizi, like Celium,
Kleenex at chance.
Yeah, Kleenex, Brack, Skies. Like all those guys were AMs last year and worked their way up a sim. So, I mean, like a lot of guys made their names last year, and it seems like maybe a lot of this wave of Call of Duty talent is finally getting a chance at the pro scene. So, and maybe it's just kind of meant to be at the same time. So that could be as well. But let's move on because we're gonna be talking about that more. 10mm ammo might be back. All right, so
it's crazy.
As of today, Skrapz tweeted like it's back, basically, and a few pros have basically confirmed it. That at this point, it seems like pros are now once again trying out the 10mm ammo, and like very likely by this next tournament, we'll be playing with 10mm back on the MP5.
Yeah.
Like, we had 1 week of AUG drama, then we had a weekend of 9mm MP5s, and now we're looking at 10mm again.
Just doesn't make any sense, dude.
I know. Like, where are you guys at with the friggin' GAs?
It's so hard to keep up. Like, it's just like everything. It's always something. I mean, it's how it is every year in COD. There's always something, but it seems like this year, it just seems like there's a little bit more than usual of like these weird debates happening. It's almost like these new wave, and maybe I'm just thinking of FaZe is like they don't want to like ban a lot, and these new players, but then like the older players want to ban a lot more. So I don't know.
I agree. I think the online has a huge factor. I think when pros have started to see, okay, we're online for the rest of this league, I think they are turning their GAs to focus on their own team. Like,
it's very selfish.
We all know that, a lot of the players, we see this every year where they'll say, stop making GAs for selfish, make the GAs so that the overall competitive integrity of the game is better.
Right.
But I think now there's a lot of pros who are just like, screw this year. The GAs, I want the GAs to be good for my team. And so I think this is why we're just seeing this back and forth. And it's just, honestly, I think it's ridiculous. But
yeah.
What can you do?
Well, I mean, okay, so Rex, last time, we didn't even get a chance to hear your whole opinion on the AUG and everything else. And then all that drama happened after we recorded even more. And then the stuff with Crim this week, like right on Thursday night, where he had been practicing with ATS
for a while.
No one knows
if people would notice.
ATS. No one. I mean,
he covered up to say, as he said, he was testing
it. Yeah.
I don't know, Crim.
I
don't know if
Who
we were
cares,
just testing.
Honestly, like just use it. I mean, I feel like with Crim's gameplay, you could tell if he's using it. To be honest, I feel like I don't know if he can actually do the like sprinting like you're supposed to. But I don't know. I don't like GAs. I've always wanted to see it. I wanted to see Abizi be running the AUG, like he said, but he didn't do it, and I wanted him to do it so bad.
Nice.
I want to see one tournament where there's just no GAs. Honestly. I think that would be just entertaining, just to see what would happen. There's no GAs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I remember back in World War II in the early tournaments, like especially in the AM scene, like everybody had like their if the other team breaks the GA class, like so everyone would have like their M1 Garand class, like running with all of their other stupid crap on like those loadouts.
Clayster pulling it out was the greatest one ever.
yeah. And so it's just like I mean, I was watching I was watching old like Black Ops 2 clips, and like they like were using turrets in like CTF. Yeah. I'm like, what in the world? Like they were using turrets at the beginning of Black. I mean, that was before like they banned. At some point they banned them. Yeah. But like even at the beginning of Black Ops 2, they were still trying out like turrets and stuff. Like where obviously nowadays they're just auto banned. But yeah, it is crazy. I mean, even thinking back to Ghost, like they were using shotguns and like the Bulldog and so the GAs. It can work without them in a certain way, but I think Octane, like I don't know if you guys saw Octane's video about GAs, but yeah, I think he put it in a good sense where like there's certain things that if Infinite Warfare makes a game, or if a game is made in a certain way, you just have to GA. Like nobody wants 5 smokes on the map. Nobody wants 5 trophies in a respawn.
Yeah, like, that was where like. I do agree. Was like the smoke argument? Like, could you imagine?
Oh, it would be unplayable.
10 smokes on the map.
It would be horrible.
But I agree with Rexo. Like to me, like the less GAs, the better generally. But obviously, there are some things where it's like, okay, you just have to.
Right.
Like,
but then there are other people out there that argue like, okay, well, if you run 5 smokes, then people can just run 5 trophies, and there's not going to be a problem because you'll be able to destroy all the.
True.
You'll be able to destroy all the smokes with your trophies. So what's the problem? Or like, there's those people out there that do exist.
Yeah. Or like just let the league fix itself. Like,
right.
That's kind of where I come from, and like I do think GAs are necessary, but I want them to be like a league decision, not player decisions to do it.
Yeah, like where the league hears the feedback of every single team and then makes an executive decision. Yeah. And then the players follow that executive decision.
Yeah, and so like so you do everything. So like players aren't restricted. It's like, I know if I use this, we could win this game. And they can just sit there thinking that. It's like now it's like if you actually use it, you will automatically lose because of the league, Yeah,
that's probably a healthier mentality for the league as a whole.
Yeah, so it's like then Activision is forced to pay attention and forced to be like, okay, no one likes watching 5 smokes on the map. No one likes we should change that because our viewership's going down. If it's more entertaining to watch, like who cares, Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 because like, pros started GAing things because the COD, like the developers wouldn't change it for them, but because they're GAing and taking care of it on their own, they're never going to change it. Yeah. So it's like kind of like a catch-22 where it's like, oh, well, the protein's going to take care of itself. Perfect. Now we don't even have to adjust anything, So it is kind of a catch-22.
Yeah. So I would love to see that all the players just go buck wild, use everything that they've come up with that's like OP and just use it. Yeah, and broken, because I'm sure like Clacer has some like classes where it's like no one has made this class, but like it's crazy, It's like I would love to see these classes. But what can you do? I wish they would do that and then make Activision make those decisions, not the players.
Yeah, that's probably the best case scenario, but it's going to take a pretty big change
yourselves. Like I just don't get
that to happen. I mean, it would literally have to be an executive decision from like the leaders of the veteran players, like the Crims and Slashers of the world,
here's the
Crim, Clays, Slashers of the world.
These GAs is made by these veteran older players, but it's like these veteran older players are also getting worse. Like they're trying to keep themselves relevant, of course.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And that's why you see the MP5 nerfs coming through.
Yeah, so it's like everyone's going to put GAs obviously that are going to benefit themselves sort of in the end. So yeah. And I know there's cases like TK back in World War II said that, yeah, the FG was overpowered and shit, but they were like super good with it. But like, I don't think that's the case for everybody. And
but they acknowledged that it was OP and they're like, fix it and we won't use it anymore. Like that was their thing. Like, fix it, we won't use it.
Yeah. So like, I wish they would just make Activision change it. Like make the GAs or have the developers will nerf it if they need to. So
100%.
That was my hope.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully we can get some type of like maturity from the COD League and the players, like, and how they interact with each other in that way, and like hopefully we can kind of evolve into like a better system because it sucks right now. It's not good for the AM scene. It's not good for the pros. It's not good for anyone except for the selfish pros who can majorly rule in some way or another. So it just sucks overall. But all right, let's move on. Champs. It's the rumors right now. I mean, it was kind of leaked supposedly on the stream itself, on the COD stream this weekend, that Champs was going to be on August 29th. I mean, that's the best info we've had so far. It's been really, really quiet since then, which would be kind of interesting because the last event is, the last weekend of July. So we would literally have a whole month before Champs, which a lot can change inside of this Modern Warfare game in 1 month if we haven't noticed that already. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
It's going to be online, right?
Yes.
Yep, it's online.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's always it's hard to feel a lot when it's an online Champs, like, does it count, not count? I don't know. It's so hard because, like, this is our first franchise league and, like, we have an online Champs.
It's so unfortunate.
Plus now it's like a month away from the last league match where it's just like, are people going to actually care?
Might be wanting to create space for the challengers.
Right.
Thing too, which would be nice, honestly. I would love, obviously, like, I think we talked about it before, but like we should be seeing a full weekend just for the challengers.
With that much money on the line for challengers, like, they deserve it. Their time to shine.
But yeah, no, still, even then, like, you would think it would be like 2 weeks, challengers, and then champs all in one weekend. But I don't know. Yeah, they could. I don't know.
It is weird. It feels a little late.
But yeah, they could honestly, like, just want teams to, like, practice super hard, too, like, want to create enough space. Maybe the players want it that way. I don't know.
Or they're just holding out hope that a vaccine comes out and then they can just make it land.
Maybe so. That'd be incredible planning if they could get like a month, like
no chance,
get a venue,
no
tickets
chance.
out, merch. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Nah, but yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll keep updated on that one. Hard to say exactly, but it seems like that's pretty likely when it would be, and that feels about the right amount of time. So last few small things here. I mean, the Champs bundles came out, launched inside the game, which is pretty cool. They're definitely cool if you guys haven't seen them.
Yeah.
They're like pretty cool, like gold camos. Although apparently, like the iron sight on the M4 is like a different iron sight.
Is it really?
Than like the one that is default, which is weird.
Why would they change that?
Because like they market it as like. They market it as CDL loadouts. Like, these are your CDL loadouts that you're getting. And then they change the iron sights on the M4. So, like, what?
Well, it's not a CDL loadout. Like,
that is weird.
Yeah. Just like, and also, it's unfortunate because you can't use these on private on dedicated servers. So, if you're playing game battles or playing in the 2Ks, you can't use them, which is unfortunate.
So weird.
So, not an ideal situation by any means. Yep. But there are player signatures in them, which is really, really cool. So, every team, except for the Huntsman, is in the player signatures bundle. And on Reddit, Arceus is the only Huntsman to at all comment about this. And his comment was one word, and he replied to a guy to Candy Nipples. He says, "I believe they didn't submit them on time. I'm with you. It sucks they aren't in there." And then RC said, "Interesting." But the top comment was basically, it sounded like it has to be about revenue. It has to be. And I would imagine that they were probably splitting the revenue of, like, the teams are equally splitting the revenue of these packs, and the Huntsmen are like, bruh. We are the majority of the people who are going to buy these.
Yeah.
We should get a bigger revenue split. We're not even going to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that might have been an executive decision by the Huntsmen to wield their schlongs.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
They have Scump's signature on a gun. Like,
yeah.
That's
everyone's going to want that,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's the thing.
Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it kind of seems like,
I mean, you got to be sad.
I know.
You could have rocked formal
I really want a formal signature, but I get it, but then at the same time, that could come off as just like super snobby, like, oh, we're not going to participate if we don't get our 80% cut, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, a 1 divided by 12%, 1/12% split, they deserve probably close to half.
I mean, they probably just get the money that they get for their individual sell of, like, their team, Isn't
that the same thing, though, for, like, all the merchandise, though?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Split, too?
Yeah, I'm not exact. It sounded like that was the case, but I'm not exactly sure. But, yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. The top comment on Reddit was, like, they should have released them in $2 individual packs for each team, and then that team could get their own money.
That's
but
true.
Instead, they booked them all together into one $15 bundle.
Yeah.
And so that's the situation. Yeah. It cost you $15 to get all the teams. Instead of, you could have just paid like $3 or $4 for one team.
Huntsman pack.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I thought it was worth mentioning because it's just like an interesting thing overall.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see how that plays out in the future if we can get more stuff. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They're cool.
Yeah.
Like they're actually cool. Way better than what World War II did for us.
Copy and paste.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys, we got a ton to talk about today. So, we're already a ways in, and we got to keep this thing moving. So, let's get into some reactions real quick, and we can go from there. So, let's get into the reactions.
Trash. Garbage.
Trash.
That is the greatest. I love that.
All right, baby. Let's talk some CDL New York, some reactions. Obviously, we can kind of fly. Let's talk about the teams specifically who aren't going to be at London.
Yeah.
And really focus on those because otherwise we'll be talking a lot about these other teams. So
I like that.
Who do you want to start with?
Should we just start off right with Huntsman?
Let's do it. Let's start with Huntsman.
Man, they looked really good, and then
For a minute there.
and then they didn't.
End podcast.
Yeah, it's strange. They beat New York 3-2, beat FaZe 3-0.
London,
Sorry, they beat London 3-0 too.
3-1.
3-1.
They
FaZe-
lost that first hard point.
Yeah, FaZe 3-0, and then get 3-0'd by Subliners, and it seemed. I mean, it didn't seem like super close. Like
No, every match felt like New York basically dominated. I mean,
Yeah.
the SNE's like what 6-4, but like they were down. Huntsman were maybe down. I want to say like 5-2
I
maybe.
think so, yeah.
I'm trying to remember there, but yeah,
Well,
it
in
didn't
the
feel like a close
S&D, they
series at all.
started making a comeback, kind of. But
Yeah. But then New York put that one out. I mean, the Dom, like at the end, like Chicago trip cap to like make it kind of close.
They did, yeah.
Mhm.
Like bring it within like 20, but they were down by like almost 40,
Mhm.
like within the last 2-3 minutes. So it wasn't that close. The hard point was close. The hard point in the grand final, I think map 1, Ramaza, I think Huntsman were up like 225 to like maybe like 190
Mhm.
or so. So it was like a 35-point comeback from
Yeah,
Subliners there and heading into P5.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, man. I mean, what are your thoughts there? Like Subliners, Huntsman. Try to like focus more on the Huntsman here for a second, but
Yeah.
where are you at with Chicago? I mean, now considering like the patch and the meta potentially changing back to 10 mil and everything.
Well, I think like obviously seeing the FaZe Huntsman match was awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a great.
Oh yeah,
3-0 FaZe,
it was
right?
like 115,000 viewers, by the way.
Which is
Wow.
awesome. Yeah, I think there are some great things to take away for the Huntsmen. I think in every sport it's hard to beat a team twice, and so that
Especially when you're playing the same maps.
I think that came to play a little bit here. But not taking anything away from the Subliners, obviously. But I think Huntsman looked really good up until that point, and you can have an off match. Again, they played them twice with the same map, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're in a good spot moving forward, but I think they would have really loved to clinch that third chip, obviously, and the standings, because now I think Dallas and both Florida.
Oh, the standings are interesting. I mean, FaZe are still in first though.
Yeah. Mhm.
And they have like what, a 30-point lead on Chicago, maybe? I have to pull that up real quick. But no, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't know, Rex, I want to hear what you have to say, but like, yeah, they did play Ramaza again. So like, the Huntsmen beat them 6-1 on Ramaza S&D and then replayed it and lost 6-4 in the finals.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like New York wanted to play it again too. So like maybe New York went in with a better idea of how they wanted to play it against the Huntsmen. Like they played it, lost like 0-3 to Huntsmen. Then when they went back, kind of like reviewed it with their coach, or everyone's like, here's what we gotta do differently, and like the whole game changes. And then they figured Huntsman out just from that one map, like of VOD that they had playing against them. And then like maybe that's a coach. Maybe Revan came back, was like, I know how to do this. And it's like, we're going to play the same maps and we're going to beat them because they do the same thing or whatever.
I mean,
so they saw
it's
something in the Huntsman that they just abused.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation too where like, you're playing in the semifinals, or you're playing in the final, which I mean, you got a little bit of time, and they give you like half an hour, and like you're going through the maps. Now you're like, all right, I got to pull up this VOD from yesterday. Like, let's go through my notes. They played Ramaza yesterday. Let's see how did this go down.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions that you got to ask. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the other maps though.
Well,
I mean,
Scump
Huntsman
played
can't lose
terrible
that.
too.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, like, they literally, because they replayed Ramaza Hardpoint and Ramaza S&D and lost both after beating them in the first series, Ramaza Hardpoint, Ramaza S&D. So the fact that Subliners were willing to and probably picked, obviously picked one of those two maps is really interesting.
Yep.
Subliners knew what they were doing going into it more than the Huntsmen did. Huntsmen were going in expecting to be like doing the same thing. We're going to take it like we normally take it. They might have like had an idea, like Subliners might have something up their sleeves, but Subliners, I feel like, went in like with a game plan and something set in stone. Like, this is how we're doing this, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they literally were willing. I mean, because the first rotation was Ramaza, Hackney, Gunrunner. And then this was Ramaza, Hackney, Petro. So, like, they were literally wanted to replay 4 of the 5 maps.
And that's, on purpose. Like, they're not stupid. So, like, that's definitely on purpose.
They had faith in their ability to, like, change and adapt to what the Huntsmen were doing. And the Huntsmen, I mean, that's kind of been Formal and Scump's thing in their whole career. Double down on what we're good at and just make them beat us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they did this time, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, your thoughts moving forward with them? I mean, it was fun seeing Arcides as a main AR. Like, well, not as a main AR, but playing playing an AR full time, I guess is the right words there. That was fun to see with the new meta. We'll see how that works if 10mm comes back. Mm-hmm. I mean, we won't see him again until Toronto, which is the last weekend of the year and a massive tournament because of how, I mean, literally almost every good team is there. Yep. FaZe, Empire, Mutineers, Chicago, and then you've got OpTic, Ultra, Surge, and Rokkr. So 4 of the top 5 teams debatably there, which will be huge. It's going to be fun to see what happens there. I mean, are you guys still feeling good about the Huntsmen moving forward? Rex, I mean, you weren't as confident in them, but they showed up and played pretty well.
They did show up and played. Oddly enough, I feel like I've gained a little bit more confidence in them.
Yeah.
Other than, Scump, off and on player for me.
Yeah, very.
So if Scump brings the fire, then they can win pretty much, I think, against most people. Maybe not Florida, but I don't know. I wouldn't count Huntsman out of any matchup, really, to be honest, anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think Scump is the X factor on the team?
Man, it's been weird because it's like, Envoy has been so consistent in Search and Destroy, but his respawn game lately has not been great. Not been great. He's been fantastic in Search, but just not consistent as well in S&D. And then you got Prasini there, who generally was still struggling this weekend as well. Yeah. In respawn. So it's just like those 3 are kind of like, they're generally running the subs, or like, Prasini this week was running the M4, but he was running a fast-paced M4 using it as a sub. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. Scump set the record for least kills in a grand final of all time. 32 in the 3-game series.
That is actually insane.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there have been players who have had much worse series of all time, but apparently that was the worst to ever happen in the grand final, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty good about the Huntsmen overall still, and liking their odds as a team as they continue to mesh and work towards this new meta going into Toronto and Champs. I'm feeling pretty good about it still.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they're set up well. Yeah. They just need to, obviously fix a few things, be able to show up at any moment. I feel like they are too often able to just kind of break down, for whatever reason it is. But yeah.
No, I agree. So let's talk about New York, the champions of the New York homestand, and the contributors to the hottest operators cause.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know we might disagree a little bit with where they're at as a squad moving forward, and we're gonna talk more about them in a second here. But real quick, like with how they performed and their comeback there against the Huntsmen, do you attribute that more do you attribute their win in the grand finals, their 3-0, more to their performance or the disappointing performance from the Huntsmen? Rex?
I mean, Subliners have been looking up for a long time. Ever since they picked up Mac Mouse, Subliners, I feel like, have showed up every week looking better and better and better. So I think it's deserved as also their homestand, so maybe they felt some sort of drive to try and win it, especially when you make it to the finals of your homestand. Now it's online, it's like, okay, now maybe we should, you'll start feeling it a little bit more.
Kick it into gear, yeah.
So I think I don't know if it's a one-off thing. I don't think they're probably the best team, or I don't know. Like, I think they could become one of the better team. I want to see them against Florida, but I don't think they're quite there yet. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think Subliners been looking great.
Does this establish them as a top 5 team? I mean, right? Yeah, it has to. They're one of the new. They're one of the now 5 winners of an event this year.
I think they're
joining
a team,
the illustrious club.
Yeah, I think they're a team that could end up beating any of the teams right now.
Yeah,
even Florida. I feel like Subliners could give Florida a run for their money. Dallas, like I feel like New York could do something to any other team. And beat
I mentioned it in the video, and like you don't want to be one of those top. You don't want to be the top 4 team that ends up having to play the Subliners in champs.
Subliners is a scary team.
Yeah, they're a very scary team. It can strike at any point, so it's like you don't want to end up playing them. You really don't.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I agree pretty much with all that. Like, they're definitely not a consistently like they're gonna beat everyone, but they have the potential and the ability to win at any moment. You know, I think it just matters like. You know, if you're seeing Temp go off and like attach, you don't do their thing, then they're pretty much like they're scary, like you said, Rex. So yeah, I mean, pretty much everything right there. They're have the potential to win champs. Yeah.
As long as accuracy and like all the other players are able to kind of like hold their own. Then like Mac doesn't have to carry so hard. Yeah,
that's what I thought was interesting. The meta, I think, does fit their team
for sure.
Yeah. The meta is interesting. Like that's where I'm kind of down with it. Like I'm a little bit concerned about them. Again, if you go back to the 10mm ammo and then accuracy is having to compete with that, because this, when it comes to engagements per minute, this was the lowest engagement per minute event of the whole year by a mile. So like the GAs worked when it came to like slowing down the game. And maybe that's what benefited some of those guys on New York overall. But let's talk about FaZe a little bit here. A team who was definitely not benefited by the GAs. Yeah. Again, like we said, we were all excited to see FaZe potentially rip out those GAs, but it didn't happen. I mean, what are your thoughts on this squad right now? We all know the talent's there and the upside that they have as a team. I mean, of course it's there. At any point, they can catch fire and be the best team in the league, for sure. But, like, why isn't it happening, Rex?
Well, I think Priest is not pulling his weight. Something's going on with him mentally. I think, like, he's not there. He's just not present, it feels like. It's weird to me that Priest is not playing an AR and Simp is. So I feel like if Priest picks it up, they could do more. Also, FaZe are kind of brain dead players. Like, I mean... Like, they're just not very smart sometimes.
They're not technical.
Like, the rotations, like, they just, before they were winning because they could just out-kill everybody, out-maneuver everybody. But, like, they have no, like, meta game sense, I guess, of, like, rotation.
Which is surprising when Crowder's your coach.
Yeah, but, like, these are really young guys who've made their name off of just being cracked out of their minds 24/7. Yeah. So... I mean, I think it's probably where it comes in. It's just like, I feel like they're just stupid. And I think Crowder doesn't know how to fix it. Crowder knows they're stupid. And it's like, I feel like he struggles like making them not stupid. And when they try to be smart, it hurts them even more because they're slowing down a ton. They're thinking too much. So now they're analyzing every move they make, which just makes them worse.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're handling business against the teams they should handle business against, except for Toronto. I mean, that was a big surprise. They looked fantastic in that series early on, and then Toronto just kind of like kept hanging in there. And you're just like, what's happening here? You know, and you're like,
right.
I don't know, man. I agree. Like, you know, Toronto's a team where they've looked better and better. They've obviously put a lot of time into this game and learning how this game works. And then, you know, they're able to take down FaZe because of it. We actually, obviously, none of us think that Toronto's 5 players are more talented than FaZe's across the board. But, like, you know, FaZe lost both S&Ds to Ultra and then lost a Gunrunner hardpoint, which Gunrunner, you need to rely on rotating and setting up on some of those hills. And they lost some big-time money hills and allowed a comeback in the hardpoint because of it, you know? So it's like literal technical mistakes, and then search and destroy can come down to positioning and preparation, especially in the COD League. So it's just like, yeah, I agree. I mean, if they win that, you know, they don't have to play the Huntsman. They can play New York, and maybe things change for them in the bracket. But, or, yeah, no, they wouldn't play New York. They would play, I'm sorry, who would they have played if they would have won their...
If they would have won, they would have played...
I'm brain dead right now.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yes, we are. We made
They
it.
would have played... If they would have beat Toronto, they would have just gone into the semifinals versus New York Subliners.
Oh, I was right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, they would play New York. I mean, and then maybe they're better off in that situation, not playing the Huntsman, and then they can have a chance in the grand finals versus the Huntsman, and, you know, maybe things go their way. Who knows? But
yeah.
I don't know. I agree with you. FaZe needs to hit the drawing boards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah, I think they just need to figure out, okay, they can't just outslay in this environment, you know, for whatever reason. Again, I know the title excuse, you know, if they were on land, they probably would, you know, be able to do this. You know, who knows, whatever it is. They didn't figure it out. I think they need to, like, the biggest thing is just realize, like, maybe they're just so not willing to change what they were doing because they just think that
they were nasty at the beginning of the year.
They were nasty, so it's like, we should be able to do this. Maybe Crowder's telling them, look,
I
guys.
mean, we've seen a lot of teams who are successful at the beginning of COD years, and they can't really ever find that again because they're not able to, like, figure out that new meta of how you play a map.
Yeah, and, you know, like, maybe...
Look at the Rokkr.
You know, maybe even Simp needs to, like, try to do something else. Like, obviously, he's still putting up a bunch of kills, but do kills matter if you're losing games? Like,
yeah, BZ dominated, too.
Yeah, so, I don't know. You know, I think they might need to do a whole... like, just switch around of just, like, a thought process of when you're going into map, what to do. And I can't imagine that's easy, though. Like, I'm putting myself in their shoes. If you're, like, if I'm just, like, this dominant player, like, I should be able just to kill my way out of anything. And then to be able to not do that anymore, I mean, that would be very hard to step back and, you know.
I would imagine it's hard to have a really positive mentality in a tournament where you're like, like, this whole league just ganged up on us to try to nerf us. Yeah. Like, they literally just didn't want us to win, you know, like,
yeah.
I'm imagining it's probably a pretty toxic mentality to have when you're like, dude, these teams literally just tried to screw us. Now we have to go out there and play them. It's like, that's just obnoxious. So it's like, I can see how that could be tough, especially for younger guys like that. And probably their first time really dealing with that, like, public pressure like that as a players. And so, I mean, I'm still confident in them moving forward that they can rebound and, like, figure out and correct their mistakes and maybe switch up their vetoes and what maps they want to play and try some new things. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm not horribly worried about FaZe long term, but some changes are definitely needed. But okay, let's talk about the team that beat them, Toronto.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, where is Toronto at this point? Yeah.
For medals,
Classic's back.
How do you feel about that, Sam?
I don't know, man. I think I said it last time. Like, they keep, like, making good substitutes, but they're pulling out the wrong players. Like, I think Bance needs to go. I think you put medals back in for Bance. I can't say anything about Looney because I don't think he was actually really doing anything too much, you know, before. But
Looney barely got a shot, but yeah.
Yeah. No. I think if Bance, I think if medals came back in for Bance, that would improve the team. But I'm surprised. Like, I would have thought these constant roster changes and, you know, the players not really knowing exactly who they're going to go to the next event with would just screw them over, but they don't seem to be doing, like, absolutely horrible. They obviously beat FaZe. They seem like they're kind of right in line with like London, where they're like on the verge of, like, you know, they're like kind of an average team, but they have their moments.
Yeah, they're definitely a threat, and teams don't fully, like, respect them,
exactly.
And then they upset them. Like, that's kind of like the vibe they have.
But, like, you don't count on them to win a match. You know, besides
unless they're playing Paris.
Paris,
I mean,
obviously.
they only beat Paris and FaZe, and then they got 0-3'd by the Subliners. So
yeah. So yeah,
they had one
like,
matchup where it's like FaZe where they really should not have won, and then they got 3-0'd by Subliners. So it's like,
I just feel like if they're gonna make any waves at champs, they need to this week or whatever nail down a roster
And grind.
Like, you shouldn't not know who you're going to play with at Champs.
Yeah, after roster lock.
It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at with them right now. I just feel like they need to nail down a roster. They are scary, but I also think Middles needs to be in this lineup.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to Rokkr. Last team that isn't at the next event. I mean...
Still bad.
Man.
What else can you say?
It sucks, dude.
It really does. You want Rokkr to be good so bad, like this big underdog team.
They were the
try
team
so
that
hard. They're so professional, but
they were the team that wasn't supposed to be good, but
they were
good.
so fun at the beginning of the year.
It was
man.
awesome.
And then online hit.
Unfortunate.
Like, do you attribute it more to online or just like this would have happened even on LAN type situation?
Who knows? Because LAN ended so early. They were looking pretty good on LAN. I think they started kind of going down, and then online hit, and then online was just like, God, RX no longer a god. Nobody is good on that team. Like, you know. So
yeah, I think Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
Maybe it was an online thing. Maybe, but I don't know. I think people just caught up.
That's what I'm just like trying to figure out if God RX would have stayed dominant. I don't know.
I mean, we saw him dominant on LAN at Champs last year. We saw him be great in the beginning of this year. Nasty at the beginning of this year. Literally a perennial, like everyone agreed. He's a top 5 player for sure. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like he wouldn't even be in the top 15 right now.
The one argument I would make to say that this would have happened anyway is like, look at the ARs that have stayed top, like Octane.
The perennially good players.
Like, he's been consistent on LAN and online. Like, I feel like we would have seen God RX at least put up,
at least one great event.
One great event, but it's just he hasn't been like that rock for this team. The rock for Rokkr.
I think he was right. I think he had like his first event. He was like, it was a Minnesota event, so he's super hyped. People are cheering for Minnesota. So like he plays really great, and now people know him as like this great player. So he's like right in that like high of like, I'm this great player. So like he just plays better. And once you go online, you eliminate the crowd, you eliminate everything. You're just in front of your monitor in a dark room. It's kind of like, wow, like I'm supposed to be like one of the best, and like how can he can't feel that way, you know? So I think he was riding emotions. That's what made him so good, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. Their fall from grace is really sad.
So sad.
And like, it doesn't feel like they have any hope to be a contender at this point. Like, you know, I mean, like, if you made a power rankings for who has the best chance to win champs, they are outside the top 6, 7, 8. Like, they're in that range. They're in like maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 range right now. So it's like, dang,
unfortunate.
That is tough.
They lost to the Ravens 3-2. Like, yikes.
Yeah, it wasn't as close as it even felt.
Yeah.
But all right, we need to move on to predictions here, else we're going to be here all night long. So with that said, let's move on to the predictions. Who's the best in the game?
Music to my ears.
We are talking about it right now. So we're going to fill out this bracket, as you guys are seeing right here on YouTube, and decide who is the best in the game and who's going to win this weekend at CDL London. All right, guys, let's start out in the Group A here and go through it all. Sam, take us away with this London-Seattle matchup.
Yeah, I am one where I view London in a probably higher regard than both of you.
Yeah, you too. It's great.
I do. I think they are just consistently on the verge of getting out. Anyways, versus Seattle though, like I haven't seen anything good from Seattle in a while.
And like, who do you trust in S&D, London or Seattle?
Yeah,
give me London.
Yeah, so I'm just spinning out there London for sure.
I agree.
Yeah,
London. Rex?
I mean, this is the one that I said if I was going to bet for an underdog, it was going to be Seattle, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have to say London.
Yeah. Logic would say
but
London.
I could see Seattle doing it. I could see Seattle beating anybody, honestly.
Just on the right day at the right time.
Day at the right time, Seattle's going to do it.
If the Earth is just on that perfect minute degree axis, Seattle might be able to make it happen.
Yeah,
just maybe.
If the sun comes up a minute early that day.
Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyways,
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Anyways, all right, LA OpTic, Florida. I mean, again, this is an interesting one. I mean, any of us, if anyone buying into this Drazah Hollow hype,
You
here?
can't
Come
buy
on,
into
guys.
it. Have we even seen them scrim? Like,
I mean, again, accuracy is all about this. He said they're like, what, 30 times better at this point?
yeah,
30
okay.
times.
I mean, that's just one
What does that
accuracy.
mean?
And now
what
they're
does that
still
even
only half as
say?
good as
They were
Florida.
pretty bad before. They got like 50-point club.
I know.
Like,
30 times
against
0 is
Ultra.
0.
So
The
30
Yeah,
times
the thing
better is
is-
not much better.
yeah, like you've got these. Okay, let's say these two guys
This
are
is
just amazing,
Florida.
but like you like match up against Florida, where every single individual player on Florida has pretty much
Been nasty.
Been nasty. So
At this point.
yeah, at this point, unless like Frosty and Havoc just drop the ball, I don't see Florida losing this. This one.
Nah, Florida's been so consistent. Florida's the real deal. Florida's gonna win it.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you have to expect at this point.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, that's fine. I'm down. I do agree as well. I was just trying to give a hopeful chance
Only
to.
thing is if OpTic is riding that wave where they got their 2 new players, so like all of a sudden like they're the god team just for this tournament because it's like, you know, honeymoon
That's kind of been a
period.
thing this year.
It's that honeymoon period. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Florida's
True.
pretty strong. Florida's consistently strong and like they have a game plan. They're pretty set. So I still think Florida.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we got London. That sets up a London-Florida match in the second round and a Seattle-LA OpTic match in the loser side. All right, so you got London, Florida. We all have London, Florida. Who you guys got?
Yeah, I'm very confident in Florida right now.
Florida.
So,
Yeah. for sure.
Man, I would love not to pick Florida, but it's like at this point you have to buy into the hype.
mhm.
They've looked disgusting back-to-back online tournaments, and especially if this meta goes back to 10 millimeter, which is what they won on
Good
the
one.
past 2 events, then I just don't know why you would not pick Florida
Yeah, they didn't even have to do play an event on the new meta
on the new meta. Yeah,
which whatever. Yeah, so
whatever that means.
that'd be interesting.
No, yeah. So that sets up us. Then we all have Seattle OpTic still.
Mm.
So who you guys got? Seattle OpTic. This is kind of an interesting one.
Yeah,
OpTic for me.
Yeah, I just against it. Like you
Man.
can't count on Seattle for anything.
We're all gonna agree
On Group
so
A,
lame.
let's see. I mean, it's hard not to.
No. Well, we'll see what happens here. This is
OpTic
a
is the
potential-
only kind of wild card for me. I could
Yeah.
see OpTic losing to Seattle.
It's
That's
just
the only
Seattle.
one.
Like, how do you put any faith in Seattle at this point?
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just I think that's the
It feels
the reason,
so chalked.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why we're seeing consistency here between us. Is just
Yeah.
it's that Seattle. Just no one can fathom them winning a game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so now we all have an LA OpTic London match here to decide who advances out of the loser side of things. I mean, this is the real test of do you buy into the hype?
Yeah.
This is the test right here.
Yes.
Rex, you buy into the hype.
I buy into the hype. I also
Really?
I look down on London a little bit more. I think London are a downward spiral, so I think OpTic is going to be able to beat a weak London, and OpTic's going to have like that new player thing.
No.
So I see
I'll put you
OpTic
You're
that
sticking
doing
with
it.
your boys?
You're
Yeah,
so
Man.
weird. I don't know why.
I originally was thinking LA OpTic, but then Rex went on this whole journey about how London's on a downward spiral.
And now you have to defend your
And I
guys.
gotta defend them.
Every
Let's go.
week you defend London, and like you're like they're going up, but like they're never going up. They
Let's get
always
an LA
lose.
OpTic versus London bet right here, Rex. Come on. You believe in the Oak Boys?
There's no
I
honest-
don't believe in the Oak Boys. I think LA OpTic, Drazah and Hollow new
Oh my
players
gosh.
will come in. Are there even any Oak Boys
Did Oak Boys
on
do
OpTic
a
anymore?
clothing drop?
Are there any Oak Boys that even
Yes.
play in the professional league anymore? That whole org's cursed. Whatever Oak Boys is, it's cursed.
They did do a merch
whole
yes
club.
drop.
Oh no, is anything left? Can we still buy? I think we can get Rex a shirt.
I don't
Don't
think we
get me
do.
a shirt.
I think she might
swear.
burn it
Rex,
on
what
stream.
size do you wear?
Doesn't
Oh
matter
my word, they
what
have so
size
many
to
options.
wear.
$26, what a steal.
$26
no
for some
shout-outs.
trash?
Jeez.
Pass.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm about this. I might have to cop. What? I mean, would you wear an Oak Boys dad hat?
No. Wouldn't know if wearing Oak Boys anything.
Anyways,
I'd wear it as like an ironically is how I'd wear it.
That's what I'm saying. You might wear it. I'm kind of hyped. Okay, I'm picking. Man, this is really tough. I don't know if I buy into the hype. I'm gonna pick London as well. So me and Sam agree on Group A.
Oh, Rex.
Again, London hasn't been like terrible. They just haven't been great. They're just like, huh. And then is LA OpTic?
London is incredibly average on the verge of being bad.
They're pretty average with the upside of being good.
I don't know. I see the new player honeymoon period working well for OpTic. We'll see.
It's possible. I mean, I'm not ruling it out. It's very possible.
You got two AMs, and we know how AMs function. They're always cracked.
Well, now we got a gimme match here. Let's all type in Paris. Right. We all got Dallas. I mean, that is a massive. That would be an upset right there. Should I put some money on the line there? All right. If Paris beats Dallas, I will do a $20 giveaway on stream. There it is again. We're going to throw that one out again for a Paris upset. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, you want to make some money? Pick both Dallas and New York here.
Yeah?
On midnight.
Just double down.
Just double down.
That could be a play.
Yeah.
I like it. And you guys already typed in your New York picks here too.
Yeah.
Oh my.
LAG is
Paris beat LAG last event.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be the
hard
match right here.
I mean, let's talk about LAG real quick because the hype was there for LAG going into the last tournament.
No, yeah, they played so well.
People were kind of high on LAG after their semifinals appearance in the previous tourney, and kind of like with Saints coming back and Vivid being kind of nasty. I mean, any hope for them if the 10mm rounds return?
Maybe, honestly.
Maybe.
Again, they almost 3-0'd FaZe on that semifinal match.
I mean, so they lost to Paris. So there's no GA that's like that really hurt them that bad that you lose to Paris and suddenly you're so much better. I think they just had a bad tournament or bad series against them and bad tournament.
Yeah. Right. Now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that sets up a really, really fun match for all of us here. And that is Dallas versus New York. So Rex, take us away. These are your boys.
This is so difficult. Like
New
York,
this is really, really tough.
I guess every week New York comes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So, and then they just beat the Huntsman, and Huntsman has kind of been beating Dallas. But Dallas, as we know, has always been known as a super strong team.
Yeah.
And I don't know if New York. I think I gotta go with.
We see Rex's heart and mind fighting each other right here.
I've typed them both
it's a
out
civil
now.
war
I think
inside Rex's body.
You know what? I'm going Dallas. I gotta go Dallas.
Oh, he's going Dallas.
I have to.
Wow.
The change up.
Like, because Dallas, I guess, has been like consistently good. They keep making it to the finals appearances. New York has just now kind of bridged into that territory where Dallas has always been there. So it's tough. New York is new to that thing. Dallas knows their way.
Yeah.
And I think Dallas can beat New
Sam,
York.
you agree? It looks like.
Yeah. Dallas. I've got a good feeling of Dallas going into this event. Nothing I can really, truly explain except for I think they're ready to go. I don't know. I think those guys on Dallas have been consistently getting better. Especially Shotzi. It's Illy again. That's kind of like the
He's the X Factor.
X Factor, Crimsix.
Well, Crim and Illy are the X Factors.
Crim and Illy. But I'm going to assume that they're going to be on their game for this event. And I definitely think that Dallas can definitely beat New York here. So. Yeah,
the questions in the meta is my biggest thought with this is if we're staying on this current meta, for sure. I might pick New York. I actually probably would pick New York, but I'm going to go Dallas as well if we're going to return to a 10mm meta. Based off what we know so far, it sounds like that's going to be the case, but it's hard to say. If not, I might pick New York there, so we'll have to see, I guess. Keep updated on that one. But that moves New York down to loser's bracket to play the winner of our Paris LAG match, which is a kind of a fun one. It's a fun one.
Yes, it is.
So, who you guys got?
There's no way Paris win again.
Oh, yeah, there's some bad blood here.
Yeah.
There's some bad blood here. I mean,
blood
Paris
between
beat
the bottom
LAG.
two teams right here.
Yeah, baby.
There's
Yes.
I don't see it again. There's no way. So I've got LAG beating Paris. Oh no, Paris is. I just
keep doubting.
I don't know, man.
Again,
they give me every reason to doubt them.
I agree though.
I
On the
don't
meta,
know.
10 millimeter.
I think Paris has a little bit of that heart. I think Dens has kind of got that heart.
Oh, he's gonna do it.
Luca, baby.
I think
the fire.
LAG is kind of filled with people who don't give as much of a shit or much as they don't care as much.
Happens every once a time.
So
Hey, it's all
I
good.
think I'm gonna
Podcast
go.
long enough they don't demonetize us.
I think I'm gonna go with Paris. I think Paris can do it.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I think Paris can pull it off again.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I can't hate on that because they just did 3-0 of them.
And
So
like,
what
I just
can
envision, I'm already seeing the tweets from LAG talking about losing to Paris twice and like how down they are and them tweeting about it. I already see it happening. Like that's something that just is in the future. I just see it.
Oh, okay. I'm about it. Well, that sets up a fun one. New York, LAG. I'd imagine we're all gonna be picking LAG here, and Rex has Paris. So let's all type in that.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously,
New York takes this one.
we're all taking New York. I mean, that would be a surprise to be sure if LAG or Paris.
But a welcome one.
But a welcome one? Would it be though? A welcome one if LAG took down New York? I don't know. But that sets up for the bracket, the championship bracket here, where I've got, or what do you guys got? You guys got Florida, New York.
Ooh. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Florida, New York is a hype match.
Wait, do we
for
all
me.
have? Okay, we got different. Okay, we got a few differences here, but not much. Not much. Dallas and London. So Sam has. Let's switch the bracket here real quick. Sam has Florida versus New York and Dallas versus London. Rex has Florida versus New York and Dallas versus OpTic, and I have Florida versus New York and Dallas versus London. So we're kind of all ended up in the same spots here.
Misspelled Dallas. Sorry.
Only one L in Dallas because they ain't taking L's.
Dallas.
But all right, guys, thoughts here. Florida, New York. We all have it here. This is an interesting one coming off of the past two champions.
Yeah, this is this is a tough one, but I think I'm gonna go with Florida. If I didn't have New York beating Dallas, then I don't think I can have New York beating Florida.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Florida is very much a better team than New York, and so I don't like maybe New York takes a map off like a Dom or something. I don't know.
I mean,
but
we are currently predicting back successful events for Florida.
Well, Florida just looks so good.
They've looked amazing. It's hard not to doubt it. I agree, man. It's just like, how don't you take Florida?
Florida is like the early phase right now. Like they
do feel like it.
Dominant.
But they don't even
they're
look
just kinda
like
playing at a different
they
level.
are smart players. Like they're smart and they're slaying. Like they have everything that they need. They're all around just good play. Like just a good
Well,
team.
yeah, that's the thing is like
They're
Awakening
solid.
has been like amazing, but like you can make an argument that Awakening isn't even the best player on the team.
Some people might argue third.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have Pharaoh
And
and
Skies.
Skies being amazing, and Awakening. Then you have Florida and Havoc just
Being decent.
doing their thing, and so it's
Yeah.
like great team.
Everyone pulls their weight, where it's like with these other teams, there's people who falter, but Florida, everyone every week or every tournament pulls their weight.
Yeah.
So like Dallas, Crim won't pull his weight sometimes, or Shotzi won't pull his weight, or Illy won't pull his weight. There's always something. With every team, somebody's not doing something. But Florida, every player is always doing what they have to do.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if New York was able to make that happen. I'd be hyped though. I'd be really exciting. All right, me and Sam have Dallas, London, and Rex has Dallas versus the new lineup OpTic Gaming. So Rex, you start us off. Who you got, Dallas or OpTic?
Dallas for sure.
Off the rip.
OpTic's
Dallas.
got that honeymoon period, but I think put a lot of faith in Dallas. But I think Dallas is solid and they're smart players that can beat a honeymoon team. The honeymoon team is not a smart team; they're just a crack team. So I think Dallas can beat them.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got Dallas too. Again, like I said, I've got a lot of hype going in for Dallas.
We've seen those Dallas-London matches a lot this year.
Yeah. So I think they'll be able to take it. not much more to be said, I guess.
I mean, I love watching the S&Ds between Dallas and London, man. Like the Wuskins, Illy, Snipe-Offs, and everything in those matches is so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are some of the most fun matches to watch, man. But I mean, yeah, again, you have to put your faith in the upside team and the team that's been consistently a top 3 team this whole year. When they have the upside in Respawn, I trust Dallas significantly more in both Respawn game modes. And then you got the S&D, which could maybe go both ways, but I still feel pretty good about Dallas overall and S&D as a whole too. So give me Dallas, which sets all of us up for a Florida-Dallas final here, which that we haven't had very many same championship predictions this year.
Yeah.
It's been really, really rare. And all of us have Florida coming from the top side of the bracket and Dallas from the bottom side of the bracket. So very similar predictions overall for us here. I think we're gonna be split here, though. I mean, what do you guys got?
Yeah, I think Dallas can do it. I truly do. I think it's
really.
It would be insane for Florida. But again, it's entirely possible. But Florida to win again, it's just like
back to back.
There's just no way, right? And then Dallas, I think, has had enough time to prepare. I can't see Florida winning again, but I'm going to put my faith in my.
Well, if Dallas keeps playing Ramaza against them, Florida's going to win.
Yeah.
It's like, what in the world?
Yeah.
The Ramaza S&Ds that Dallas plays.
No.
Rex, thoughts?
Oh, my goodness. This one is so difficult.
The glasses are coming off.
Because Florida, again, has been so consistently good. But like you said, Sam, like, can they win every single tournament?
Another final, yeah.
Dallas, you have to imagine Dallas and Rambo Ray, their coach. They have game planned for Florida through and through, right? Like
you'd imagine,
and they're we know Rambo's a great coach. We know that whole team, Crim, Clay, are veterans. Like they're smart players. They know how to prepare for a team. And I have a feeling they have to be preparing for Florida. Like every team has to be preparing for Florida because they're really strong.
Was their last matchup a Game 5?
No, they lost 3-1.
3-1?
Yeah,
it was a 3-1.
So I feel like everyone's got to be game planning for Florida, but
that was 3 weeks ago.
I honestly think I'm going to have to go with Florida for this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same way. I mean, last time we saw them, Florida 3-1'd them. Then Florida comes out, they win the tournament, and at this point, we haven't seen a crack in the armor. I mean, Dallas. Let me pull it up. Dallas, they lost 6-1 on Ramaza, so they lost the hardpoint 250-169 Gunrunner, lost 6-1 on Ramaza, then won the Dom by 2 points, barely escaping the 3-0, and then lost 250-240 on Cave. So I mean, it was close in the last 2 maps, but I don't know.
It's so tough.
If this is returning to 10mm situation where both teams, they didn't play in the last event, like, I'm going to give the edge to the team that beat them the time before when you're playing on the same meta. So give me Florida. I agree.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Crazy. Can they do it?
I think Florida looks
We're predicting
really
back-to-back champions here, Rex. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is like it's not that crazy from what we've seen. Like they've teared up everyone.
No. Yeah. And they just dominant performances.
Yeah. So
there it is, man.
Crazy.
So obviously MVP votes here.
Mm-hmm.
If Dallas wins, who's your MVP?
Shotzzy.
All right, you're going tried and true.
Absolutely.
Tried and true.
It's got to be Shotzzy.
Yeah.
Unless Illy just comes out of nowhere and destroys, but yeah.
Okay. The Florida one's a little bit more interesting. It's just a few more options.
There's 3 options.
Yeah. Who you got, Rex, as your MVP?
I think I'm gonna go with Skies.
Oh,
I think
really?
Yeah, I think Skies is a smart player. I think he's always on the rotation. He's always set up for everything. So I think he has a good head on his shoulders, Skies. So I feel like that's what's gonna be good for beating Dallas.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the slaying power. I'm gonna pick Pharaoh as the slaying MVP there. I just feel like this year, when it comes to MVPs, it seems like the most valuable player has been the most aggressive player on the map. I mean, which could be Awakening, but we've seen moments where Skies, Pharaoh, and Awakening have all had their time to shine with the slaying aspect on the scoreboard. So, it easily could be any of them, but I'll take my shot with Skies as the MVP.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically that you are really looking forward to overall with the tournament, or like anything that you wanted to mention before we dip out of here?
I think Florida New York is going to be a super hype match for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, if that happens, but
yeah,
I think that would be a really exciting match because New York, like I said, I think New York's been looking really, really strong. Is on their way to becoming like another Florida team. So, I don't know. I think that match will be really fun.
Yeah, I'm personally excited to see the new OpTic.
100%.
Just to see it, is the hype true?
Yeah, the OpTic London match.
Yeah. Are we going to see the consistent AMs joining the team and just improving tenfold? I don't know.
Is accuracy's hype for real?
Yes. So we'll see. But yeah, no, that's my biggest looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Event. And I always love watching Paris. I like seeing how Paris does. So
some sort of sign of life from them.
When Paris wins a series, like, oh wow, they won. They're gonna go to another series.
Well, no, that was the thing. They broke their curse. It was like what was the
February,
drought?
I think it was.
It was a long time they had gone.
No, it was since.
I'd have to go back and look, but it had been a minute since they had won a map or won a match.
Yeah, they said the U.S. debt had increased by $3 trillion.
Yeah, I would have to go back and look, but like it had been a minute since they had won a match.
Honestly, I think it was March or April.
I'm trying to scan through it right here if I can find one, but I'm not seeing it right now. But yeah, I mean I'm not seeing it. It's probably back in March.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, either way, I mean, it's going to be a fun one. It feels like there's, in the COD League right now, the standings are interesting because, I mean, this is some team's last series before champs.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's pretty crazy. And like the league's literally coming to an end, which is kind of sad.
It is sad.
But FaZe is up by 30 points on the Huntsman. Huntsmen are up by 20 points on the Mutineers. So 250 for FaZe, 220 for Huntsman, 200 for the Mutineers, 190 for Dallas. So, I mean, FaZe, even though they didn't win this tournament, is still sitting in a pretty good spot. They were lucky that the Subliners won that and not Chicago.
Yeah, definitely.
But either way, being the first or second seeded team, you're in a good spot either way.
Yes.
So FaZe is feeling pretty good about their spot right now. I mean, Florida would literally have to win this event, and then they'd be tied with FaZe, and then the Huntsmen would have to win Toronto, and FaZe get go 1-2. So pretty unlikely that FaZe loses out on that top two spots. Really, the Huntsmen, Mutineers, and Empire are the three duking it out for that second spot.
Yeah,
which is why that Toronto series is going to be so interesting, and why this series for the Mutineers and for Dallas is so massive heading into that last week. Because if either of them win this, they'll be sitting in second place going into that Toronto series. So there's actually a lot on the line for these teams, and where the points actually matter a lot going into the final few events here. So that'll be fun. And then you're looking at like the teams trying to get top 6 and be in a better spot, top 8 starting winners. So there is a lot on the line there. You're looking at like OpTic Gaming feeling like a must-win situation right now, or at least winning like 2 or 3 maps. Getting into semifinals would be massive for them. So
definitely.
Same for London. So a lot on the line there, which is pretty fun. Last thing, join the Draft Buff League, which we didn't talk about at the beginning. This was a weird week. I was feeling really good about my roster, and then Methods let me down. So shame on Methods. But I finished 27th. RIP. And I need to shout out the guy who won. It wouldn't be a podcast without doing that. Real quick, guys.
Do 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 do. I can't keep doing this forever.
There it is. All right. Oh no, this is the new one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, guys. All right, Major Cookie Crumbs with 342.2 points is our champion this week.
Wow.
Shout out with the lineup of Weskins, Attach, Mac, Asim, and Zuma. Wow, Sim, 68 points for Asim.
Dang.
That's like one of his best. That's probably his best event of the whole year.
Looking a lot better. We'll talk about that later.
Which is surprising.
That was the pickup then, huh?
But good overall. I mean, Attach was actually the worst on his team there with only 60 points. But that's why he won. Big plays. Shout out for Major Cookie Crumb, and shout out to everybody for supporting the podcast. We do appreciate you guys keeping this thing afloat and encourage us each and every week. And next week will be a little bit of a switch up with our setup here. We'll keep that as a surprise for next week.
Yeah.
And we will be back at it again, of course, next week, as always. Do appreciate it. As always, I'm your boy, SalvationsElite. Josh, to my right, Bash_Bo3 Sam. And to our farthest right is Rex, ShadyNero. And guys, we will see you next time.
Bye.
We out.